I love Halloween. You can do so much. You can carve pumpkins, dress up as your favourite characters, decorate your house,
sacrifice someone to the goat gods,
go trick-or-treating. But in my personal opinion, one of the most interesting parts of Halloween is the media. Horror movies, horror books, Halloween storylines. It's a time where everything has a spooky feel, but the scariest of them all is definitely horror games. Rather than watching the character getting killed or reading about the character getting chased, when you're playing a horror game, you are that character. It puts you in the shoes of the person experiencing the events, which adds a whole nother layer of fear. Horror games can be as inventive and as scary as they want. The sky is literally the limit. So what the fuck happens? It all started in the 90s when a man by the name of Scott Cawthon came onto the video game making scene. His first game was Doofus, which looked like a game, but that's not important because in 2013, Scott Cawthon released a child-friendly mobile game by the name of Chipper and Sons Lumber Co., a game where you collect and sell wood whilst playing various mini-games. The problem with this game is the visuals are nothing short of nightmare fuel, and I wasn't the only one who thought this. The critics hated the look of this game. Some people referenced the animatronic look as being uncanny and creepy, and there was even one review that I found where the person said they had to stop playing because they were so unsettled by the visuals. Now, the average person would see all this hate and decide to never talk about the game again and move on to something different. What you forget to consider is, well, the average person. Scott Cawthon saw the overwhelming hate for the visuals, he took that and decided to dial it up to 11. Over the next 6 months, Scott developed a horror game, going all in on the animatronic look. And finally, on the 8th of August 2014, Scott released the project to the world. Five Nights at Freddy's, or as the community had panned it, FNAF, is a horror game that is set in a pizzeria where you are a security guard on a night shift. Why a pizzeria needs a night guard, I do not know, but we'll run with it. The game is pretty simple. You get placed in this office and you can move your camera left to right. On either side of the room there is a door and a light. Using the cameras you have to keep an eye on 4 animatronics: Bonnie, Chica, Freddy and Foxy. You need to use all these items to keep them out and stop them from killing you, and you only have a certain amount of power for these items, and if you run out, then with such simple gameplay, unique visuals, an amazing sound design, and lore building, this game was different to anything else at the time. So what happened next, I don't even think Scott himself could have predicted. All it took was a few YouTubers, mainly Markiplier, and this game blew up. And when I say blew up, I mean it. A dedicated fan base was formed, full of horror fans, game lovers, and a concerning amount of furries. So what do you do when your little indie project blows up? Well, you make a sequel, of course. So Scott makes a sequel in a new pizzeria with more animatronics and 3 hallways this time. Take away the animatronics and this is a person who can't multitask's worst nightmare. But the second one did even better. So what do? You make a third one, of course, to finish off the trilogy and end the franchise. This one has even more things to worry about, but this one does well too. Oopsies, we lied, here's FNAF 4, but this time it's in a child's bedroom, and that was seen as the scariest one yet. So you have to make a 5th one that will actually end the franchise this time. Anyways, 2 VR games, an RPG, an open world, and a ton of other FNAF games later, there is now an extensive, complicated lore surrounding dead children that MatPat can explain much better than me, hundreds of thousands of toys for children, and a movie where Peter Mellick is a night guard, and Shaggy from Scooby-Doo is William fucking Afton. Five Nights at Freddy's was, and still is, huge. Its dark but childish undertones helped it become something considered for all ages, and of course that made it a lot more money. But AAA and indie game companies saw the success of FNAF, and boy did they want a slice of that metaphorical pumpkin pie.
Come on neighbor, what you got to hide?
Yeah, we're talking about this game. Hello Neighbor is a first-person horror game, in very big quotations, where you play as a child who saw some sort of murder at his neighbour's house, and instead of doing the same thing, which is calling the police, he wants to sneak in. Now the problem with this game is, well, it's bad. I don't know why anyone liked this game, and don't lie to me, you liked it, I liked it, Dan TDM liked it. It's very much your puzzle game type thing. Go here, grab that, unlock this, find this. It's very tedious and just boring, to be honest with you. And it was clear that the creators of this game wanted to be the next FNAF. I mean, we have all seen the MatPat image, but in order to be the next FNAF, you need to have, at the very least, a polished game. Because this game is not polished at all. There are glitches everywhere, to the point where you can just find speedruns of this game where they can just skip most of it. As a game, in my personal opinion, there isn't much substance. And I think over the years, people have formed a similar opinion. So why the fuck is this a game franchise now? A year later, Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek released, being a prequel to the original game, but this time you were following the Neighbors family. Ooh, plot twists. It's similar to the original game, but you're just playing hide and seek, and it's actually got a deep story about grief and death of loved ones. So it's a shame that it was in Hello Neighbor, but I will give it props, it is better than the first one. Unfortunately though, it still looks like shit. But the next game that came out was Secret Neighbor, a multiplayer horror game. Now, multiplayer horror games is a subject for another Halloween, but normally they're either really bad or the next trendiest game. This one, it sits very firmly in the middle. In this one, you play with 6 people, and one of you is secretly the neighbor. The neighbor is trying to kidnap the other players, and the other players need to escape before they can do so. I will give credit, this game visually isn't an insult to my eyes, and it is definitely a step up, but as the resident Hello Neighbor hater, I still don't like this. Finally, Hello Neighbor 2 released, a game which is about a journalist this time trying to catch the neighbor. I mean, the neighbor is posing for him, but still. This game visually though does actually look quite nice, which I think is definitely a good thing, but as for gameplay, it's the same fucking thing, man. I do feel like a broken record, but I will give it credit, it's definitely some of the better puzzles in the franchise. But this franchise is definitely the most mixed. I do hear a lot of varied opinions on these games. Personally, I just don't like them. I'm not saying they're objectively bad, because that would just be incorrect, but what I am saying is subjectively, well, they're bad. They're bad. The franchise is popular though, a lot of interesting merch to go along with that very interesting fandom, but it can't get worse than this, right? Right?
This fresh new change of pace. Walk through the corridors and hear me lurking.
No. You stay away. Go. Poppy's Playtime is the reason why I have gone insane, especially last year. I remember being in London and seeing a Huggy Wuggy plush. For some reason, these games have like dedicated fan bases. Poppy's Playtime is definitely the most FNAF copy type game, which is why it's not that scary or horrifying. It's just startling. It looks visually good though, I'll give it that. Don't get me wrong, I see what they're trying to do, but I'm a miserable asshole, so I'm not here for it. The aesthetic is actually very well done, but I think what lets this down for me personally is the gameplay. Walking around a factory doing mundane things for me personally is not that fun, but my biggest problem is chapter 1 is 10 quid, and you can finish it in less than 30 minutes. But there is hope. Chapter 2 was a lot longer, the gameplay is actually slightly interesting, which isn't saying much because anything is better than chapter 1. Although I will say there is actually some scare factor in this, because that is fucking terrifying. As for chapter 3, it's fine. It feels repetitive, you meet the new character, you do a few puzzles, the character chases after you, rinse and repeat until, I don't know, they die. To me, these games are not fun, I'm just so incredibly bored and uninterested in what's going on. It feels like it's trying to be FNAF, but it also wants to do its own thing, which makes it divided and doesn't want to commit to one thing. But this game is the reason I wanted to make this video, because the impact of this game is so odd. Because it's popular. There's stuffed toys, there's whole fandoms, music videos, everything. But I still don't understand who. Who is the audience for this game? But I think I know now. But in order to explain that, I need to talk about one other game. So this is boring. Garden of Banban is pure slop. I feel bad about criticizing games, as I do understand every game has passion behind it. Yes, even those ones. But Garden of Banban feels so boring and unoriginal. I get what it's trying to do, but gods, this is so uninteresting. Like this is what I'm supposed to be scared of? These games are so tedious and repetitive to me. And when it's trying to be scary, it's just not. There is 8 of these games. If I put Banban 1 and Banban 3 next to each other, can you tell me which ones are which? No, you can't, because both of these games are Guardian of Banban 6. These games feel so unoriginal, so uninspired. It is using the exact same things over and over again, and yet somehow these horror games are popular. And these were only the ones I talked about, but there is so much more, and yet someone is asking for this. Somebody is playing this. Somebody is buying these uninteresting games with similar stories and aesthetics. Someone asked for these to be made. And I understand, maybe it's just me, but I have seen similar opinions online, and I've talked to people in real life that hold the same opinions. And yet these games are popular, and I think I know why. The answer is simple. Children. These games are advertised as horror, but all these games have childish undertones that would appeal to the children market. In the media today, it's very clear that children like this type of stuff. I mean, look at the Poppy's Playtime fandom. The oldest one there is Markiplier, who has definitely been forced to play these games since FNAF 1 was so popular. And I'm not saying if you enjoy these games you are wrong. What I'm saying is these horror games, to me at least, are just not fun. They all follow this repetitive formula without even being that scary. But I'm also not saying that there are no good horror games either. Lethal Company is amazing. Alan Wake 2 was mind-bendingly captivating. And even horror games that are more childlike, that is with extremely heavy quotations, and I mean extremely. Little Nightmares 1 and 2 are still both masterpieces that use visuals to their advantage. I don't know why I made this run, I really don't. These games are not going to go because I said so. And over the course of this video, I feel like I might be the problem here, not the games. But I can't change that. Well anyways, I've got to go. Halloween is nearly here and I still haven't found my sacrifice. Yeah, that will do.